welcome to Idio Talk, a Radiohead podcast hosted by the Glenn brothers. I am one of said Glenn brothers and one of your hosts. My name is Walker Glenn.
And I'm Zach Glenn.
It's great to be back with you. I think we're really excited about this episode. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm pumped.
We're talking about what people definitely consider to be more of a throwaway album in the Radiohead canon. Would you say that, Zach?
Yeah, it's one of the lesser jewels in the crown.
Right. Not really talked about.
Yeah.
Not discussed. Certainly didn't advance their sound.
Are you being cheeky?
I'm having a bit of a laugh as our friends across the pond. Thank you.
We have the same pen.
Oh, yeah. Listeners, this is one of those things where it's like we started out as adversaries, but then we use the same writing implements, and it's like, perhaps we have more in common than we thought.
You're not so bad after all, are you?
Yeah. Isn't that, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it referred to many times that the way Superman and Batman stop fighting is because they find out their mom has the same name in the Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah, that's correct. They both share the name Martha.
Okay. And that makes them be like what? Like
I don't know. I mean, it's that movie is this is an episode of Batman v Superman, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Zach v. Walker.
Yeah, it's
and our mom does have the same. Our moms do have the same.
That's
name.
right. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that like people reference constantly.
Right.
Must save Martha. So yeah, Batman has his foot on Superman's throat. Superman's like, "Hey, don't kill me. I have to save Martha." And then Batman's like, "Hold on."
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
that's also not how you would say that.
Right.
You would say my mom.
Right. But that's like his adopted Earth family.
Fair enough. Okay.
Which is kind of disrespectful to people who are adopted. It's like you say mom and dad.
Right. I have to save my adoptive mother. It's like it's like in Royal Tenenbaums, how whenever he introduces Margot, and this is my adopted daughter, Margot Tenenbaum.
Or when he goes, "We're going to go out and see your grandma." Well, not your grandma. It's so fucking... And she just kind of looks at him and is like, is it even worth it?
Yeah.
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 Great movie.
I've been wanting to rewatch it, actually.
It holds up.
You know, did you see French Dispatch?
No. And I mean, I have this problem sometimes where I'm like, oh, Walker hated it. It's doubtful that I'll like it. But honestly, I'm incentivized so little based on your appraisal because we have similar issues with Wes Anderson. And I think we like a lot of the same things that he does. And I don't know if you want to,
Yeah, I mean, we can just chat, but we're just two people talking here, right?
That's all we're doing.
I mean, I've heard praise of it that made me kind of take pause and go, was I just like irritable when I saw this or something like that? But I really don't want to watch it again. It basically for me, I've been hearing people's issues with Wes Anderson for a long time, and I haven't really shared them. He's made movies that I like more than others, but some of his movies that people say are a little too affected and
schmaltzy.
Sure, yeah. Are movies I really like. People say that about The Life Aquatic, and I think that's a great movie.
Great movie.
People say it about Darjeeling Limited, which I also really love, and some of the recent stuff I haven't loved as much as the early stuff, but not in a way that turned me off to him. But this one was just like, it felt like it was all kind of costumes and quirks, and it just didn't have like the underlying humanity. And I kind of wonder too if maybe he tapped into something different when he was writing with Owen Wilson.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
I mean, now.
Yeah, I think this is a party trick, if you will, to blow people's minds with when talking about Wes Anderson. I say that Owen Wilson gave his movies heart. Like even Tenenbaums, which is like kind of darker compared to the first two, there's like a lightness to it that is just like kind of even not necessarily present in some of the darker scenes, but like throughout the whole movie, wherever it goes. And I feel like that is like, it's really hard to observe until you have something without it. And I don't know what the first movie where Owen Wilson wasn't his writing partner. Maybe Darjeeling Limited might be the first one.
I think he wrote Life Aquatic with Noah Baumbach.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I think Owen Wilson, he hasn't made like too many good movies lately, but he's obviously a gifted comedic actor. And, Wes Anderson seems very serious, which is, of course, his movies are amazing. But I think that, when you have somebody who's like not even necessarily a spontaneous comedian, but well, he is too. I mean, Owen Wilson is like funny and stuff that isn't just movies. And I think that probably really comes through in the scripts. I liked Grand Budapest Hotel.
I like that movie too.
But I dislike it I don't dislike it, but the things I don't love about it are the things that you kind of just mentioned, is that it's so heavy on the like set design and costumes and all that. But it did feel like a return to form in the sort of like the struggles that characters always seem to sort of have in his movies.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say, getting back to Radiohead, when I was sarcastically, and listeners, I will say I was being sarcastic when I said that this album is a slight one in the Radiohead catalog. I think that this is a biggie. I think that if you are a casual Radiohead fan, that some of the songs that are going to be off this album. If you know an album, and you're a kid from the 90s, it might be this one. Like I said, it was kind of my entry point into the band until In Rainbows came along and got me in heavy. But a running joke that I had a lot of fun doing back and forth with a friend and possible future guest of the show, Jason Vitlasil, was when we saw Radiohead together at Bonnaroo in 2012. Throughout the set list, when they would do stuff from different points in their career, our big joke was to like exaggeratedly roll our eyes and go, "Oh, okay, just trotting out another game-changing tape turner." Like, "Oh, okay, just gonna be a hack up there and do another genre-defying classic." Way to go, guys!
Right, because it's just like on this album, it is sort of just mind exploding newness, and it's so like I didn't discover, maybe newness is the wrong word, but just like, oh, I've never heard that before for me. And I mean, it's really cool to listen to this album and just remind yourself that this came out in 1997.
Well, I'm gonna just ask you, Zach, to since we're already kind of getting into our thoughts, do you have general thoughts about either both your history with OK Computer up to kind of how you're experiencing it, listening to it, going over it with more of a fine-tooth comb for this podcast? How have you felt about this album, and how do you feel about it now?
I would say my love for it has increased over the last couple months, maybe. I just think it's great. It's my general thought is that I have this written down. It's a quantum leap forward in terms of like it's just production value, production quality, songwriting, instrumentation, every aspect of being in a band. And I think that is pretty undeniable. Like, whether it's the band had more resources or they were just more mature, probably a bit of both. But I think, and you were saying on our first or second episode, I can't remember, that like this is kind of the album to, if you're going to show people Radiohead and like not necessarily a song by song basis, but turn them onto an album, this is probably a good place to start. And I agree, because it has a little bit of everything, which is why I really, really enjoy it, because we're not to the sort of more digitized electronic era of Radiohead just yet, even though there is elements of that on there, like in the first track even. But it's still pretty guitar heavy for the most part, and you got that nice balance of like slow and rock. And so my general thoughts are, because that was a big question, but my general thoughts are I really, really, really like this album, and I'm excited to go through it with you, because I think we probably have different standouts. And I think, I mean, it's a great album. It's of like trilogies. It would be like you have Return of the Jedi, you have the Holy Spirit, you have Return of the King, all lauded as the greatest thing in
you
the
have
trilogy.
the second guy you invited over to make love to your wife.
No, I'm being cheeky. I think it's such a great album. There's a lot more to your question, but I'm a big fan.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I'm glad it's holding up for you.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, what you said about it being a quantum leap forward, it's pretty like crazy if you take a 3-album cycle of
Agreed.
Radiohead's career, and it goes The Bends, OK Computer, and Kid A. And
that makes more sense.
yeah, but it's also, though, those 3 albums, each is so radically different than the other. And I think that it's insane that they have been able to stick the landing on such a radical redefinition of their sound, not once, but at least twice in their career. And I don't think that after Kid A, any of the transitions they make are as radical or as jarring. But I mean, the transition from Ben's to this is really, really significant. And then I think that they maybe change even more with the next phase of their career.
They do, because I think that, like, as somebody who, not even from my own experience, but there's a lot of bands where you can definitely be like, oh, wow, they got better, or they're trying new things and it works, right? I think U2 is a good, we talked about them a lot. That's just why I use them as an example. Like, Joshua Tree is better than its predecessor, which I think is like Unforgettable Fire or War.
Yes.
But it's like very much the same band, just like with the maturity to their sound. And this, I think, is the last Radiohead album that I can like solidly link to the Bends, because Kid A, you know, outside of the fact that you're like, oh, that's Tom York's voice, it does feel like a different band, and not in a way that was like studio meddling. I think it feels so genuine, whereas this one is so much better in all senses, but I can still reconcile the two artists.
Sure.
Which is funny because like they, in a 2-year span, like how, I guess just playing and touring a lot is how you get that much better and being an inspired artist, but it's nuts.
You know, I with Radiohead, like as we do this podcast more, I find to talk about why they are the way they are on a particular album requires a great deal of speculation, because as we've discussed, they're just not that interested seemingly in sharing they're very generous with the product, you know, like they have tons of footage that they put out of them playing in the studio and concert footage and everything like that, but they just don't talk about themselves and their process that much.
I was able to pull a little bit of that for this one, but you're right. It is a little hard to come by.
Zach is kind of the crack researcher on this one, investigative reporter. But I think that a huge part of the leap here, like the musicianship on the Bends, is really, really, really rock solid and really matured from Pablo Honey. And I feel like what does the lion's share of growth here is maybe Tom York's songwriting. Even though their songwriting, I think, is it's a collaborative process, and musically, like everyone's contributing ideas and things like that. But it feels like the band was kind of ready to step into this slot, and then Tom York's kind of POV as a songwriter and ear for melody that is still accessible but odd and not what you expect it to be, really, really working in a style, and he's really working in a style that feels like, oh, I know that I'm listening to something that he wrote right away. He has a real signature touch in this, and I just think that's the thing, that the sound is super evolved, the production, everything, like you said, it's better and more interesting on every front than what they've done so far. But that's the thing to me that like is creating the skeleton of what they're doing with this album, is like, oh, Tom York is just a way better songwriter and composer on this album.
Yeah, and they talk about. I am going to preface this is my only preface for the day, hopefully, but a lot of quotes or facts that I'm going to read off can be found in Wikipedia, but that was sort of a last minute thing that I discovered because I had done there's this cool documentary that I got. We'll talk about maybe later, and then there's a good amount of literature. Not literature. There's a good amount of quotes and stuff in this other book about Kid A that I've read. So I think Wikipedia just generally pulled stuff from it. But you can find in either of those books or on Wikipedia. Ed O'Brien says that.
Who?
Ed O'Brien?
The Handsome Man?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I was like, wait.
I only know him by his title, The Handsome Man.
Well, he hadn't quite grown into his handsome role yet.
Oh, okay.
Still a touch awkward. But anyways,
I think Tom becomes handsome after this album.
Agreed. Yeah, he's still a little harsh on the eyes. Oh man, I'm joking.
But we do know he has a girl. He's at least handsome enough that he's had a girlfriend because we heard about her on the last album.
Right. Well, this album is titled after her. He just has a computer as his girlfriend. No, but Ed O'Brien said that it was like a much more collaborative process. But Tom was still driving. You said lion's share. That's not what he says, but the lion's share of the songwriting and ideas. And yeah, so I think that if we can trust the handsome man, then I think you're right on the money.
So Tom, it sounds like he's really stepping into his role as kind of the leader of this band in this album.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the other quote that's really interesting. Phil Selway, the drummer, says that they really wanted to depart from the introspective lyrics and sort of themes of the Bends.
Yeah.
And I read that and I had to read it a couple times because I was like, introspective, that album seems more like surface level, but I think I get what he's saying, the talking to my girlfriend or just that is sort of it's
more personal
slice of life. Yeah. Kind of stuff. And I feel like to your point about the songwriting, what goes away is the themes in this are ambiguous and ones that sort of resonate throughout time, sort of in a way that Dark Side of the Moon does that a little bit.
Yeah.
Time, money, just these themes that the thing may change, but the money will always be a thing, and obviously time is eternal. And I feel like in a way, OK Computer does the same thing, and that's introspective and very broad at the same time,
right?
And I feel like that's why this is the first album that those themes I think are really present, and it's not really an aspect of Radiohead's music that goes away. There's some songs that feel really personal throughout their whole catalog, but never this song is about a girl or this song is about, whatever thing. And this, I think OK Computer really kicks that off just in title alone. We're you could interpret it simplistically or you could extrapolate so much out of it.
Yeah.
Which I think we'll do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's a really, really somber album. Just in mood and in lyrics. In sounds, it's it gives you, like you said, it gives you a little bit of everything. But I mean, I don't know. You kind of think about the 90s and I've never been to England, let alone experience the political climate there. But if you think about the 90s and just kind of the Clinton era here, and it's the beginning of the Blair era there, and there's kind of this
Princess Diana was about to possibly lose her life.
She died in 97.
Yeah.
And but there is kind of this mood of optimism going into the 21st century, and I feel like the lyrics on OK Computer are a person experiencing all this quote unquote progress and kind of modernization of everything, and is viewing it with a great deal of anxiety and skepticism, and then there's this resulting feeling of kind of alienation, both in the way that we experience alienation, and then in some songs, or in one song in particular, literally the point of view of somebody who's get me off this planet.
Yeah.
And I really love
Exit
that
music,
about this
right?
album. Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I wanted to say just about kind of broad overtones is listening to this album a lot the last week, getting ready for this, for an album that is so concerned with kind of modernity, and an album that's called Okay, Computer.
Right.
Take it easy there, computer. All right, we've all had enough of your games, computer.
Okay.
Yeah. For an album that is like really, really focused on that, I was kind of like, I've listened to this album hundreds of times.
Me too.
And dozens of times over the last year. But I really was like struck by how much of it is traditional instrumentation. And even though
Totally.
there's a lot of like interesting effects work and some interesting studio flourishes, like I said, like it is not the sterile kind of computer tinged coldness that we will get to great effect, in my opinion, and to like a really, really interesting use of it. But it's still very like, oh, okay, this is still a 5-piece band. There's a lot of guitars.
A lot of effects pedal, but a basic effects pedal.
Yeah. Analog drumming, like it still is in terms of like arrangements, it's still a rock record, but I think the songs themselves keep it from being just a rock and roll record.
Yeah, like you watch footage of them playing like on Jules Holland or just, on tour or whatever, and you can tell they are very focused because it's really hard to do those songs live.
Yeah, no
but
shit.
they can do it though, and I mean, and that's not to take anything away from the next album, but usually guitar players at a computer or board of some sort, and I'm not saying that isn't music at all. It's just different. Whereas everyone is either playing their traditional instrument that they stick to, or like the handsome man is using like some sort of percussion instrument, like in Paranoid Android. But for the most part, they like stick to their guns. They just have a lot more to do. So yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, there is expanded instrumentation on this, particularly for what's our nickname for Johnny?
I've just been calling him JG.
JG. Okay, so
like
particular
JG.
for JG, he's getting to be a little more of like a Brian Jones on this album. He's playing the glockenspiel. He's doing more synth stuff. I think maybe he is at the keys more than Tom is at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, have you seen them play Karma Police on Letterman from this era?
No.
Yeah, he's just rocking at the piano, and he's throwing in a lot more like licks, so to speak, than is in the recorded version. But yeah, he's a really good piano player, obviously now, but like at this point. And I feel like, again, that's another thing. I feel like they really grew probably in different ways. Like songwriting is something technical if you're Paul McCartney, but not technical. Something that you can sort of use a template for. It might be a great template, but it's largely abstract. And I feel like Tom York really grew in the abstract ways. And you could see Johnny Greenwood, I'm sure he knew how to play the piano, but just became ridiculously proficient in the instruments that he plays. I feel like between the bends and this.
Well, do you want to get into kind of some of the facts and figures about this album before we go track by track?
Yeah, I wanted to say one other thing real quick on your like just kind of when it came out and going into the 21st century. If you look at this album and sort of interpret it as the way you did, which I agree with, and then you compare it to other like films, say, of that era, like Fight Club or The Matrix or something like that. Like those movies are, for some people, they age better than others, but they explore the sort of same things, I think, of like, oh man, look at this. We're all at desks and computers or whatever. I assume people have seen those movies, but they do feel a lot more dated than this does.
Sure.
And I think that, that's personal taste, but I think that this is just a very, very inspired album when you compare it to other works of art that try and explore the same concepts. But
I think that's a great observation. And like, I think that this album really, like, I don't know if it's revisionism that you like get to look back and see something that like exists in its era, and you kind of attach profoundness to it. But I mean, this album, while sounding very ahead of its time to me, it was conceived and recorded in the second half of the 90s, and it sounds like that in the best possible way. It sounds like the end of an era,
big time.
and it is the end of an era for this band, but it just feels like, of course Radiohead has no they're not Nostradamus. They don't have an awareness of some of the turmoil politically and just like globally that's on the horizon, but it does feel like there is a sense of dread.
Yeah.
And that the sense of dread is directly related to just the turning of the time culturally.
Right. And the way they make it
politically.
timeless is by not being too specific. I think that's the problem with if you compare something like those two movies, is it's like, okay, they're so specific as far as what they're afraid of that they instantly become dated. That they have to focus in on the computer that Ed Norton is using that's as big as this table, or whatever. And I mean, that's fine, but those aren't timeless in the same way. And I think that it's like, I would compare OK Computer to something maybe more like 2001: A Space Odyssey, where it's like, sure, movies might look better now, but these concepts are just vague enough to where they like resonate and are timeless. And so anyways, we can move on. But.
Dude, when you just said you would compare it to 2001, that's
the Dr. Dre album?
Both great. I would say that what those have in common is they're both great albums.
Yes,
this
absolutely.
one is that I would say OK Computer is slightly lacking in Eminem guest spots, but God, I'm so glad Radiohead has never succumbed to, I understand why bands do it, but that urge that once you're
Featuring?
a big act, getting a rapper to feature on one of your songs.
Oh,
it
yeah.
never fucking ages well.
No,
you take
no.
a great rock band, great MC, and get total crap.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
No, I was going to say, for some reason, when you said it reminds you of 2001, I just got a mental image of watching 2001 with the sound off synced up to this album.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like a really
Well, I mentioned
fun
Dark
thing to
Side
do.
earlier, and I mean, I don't have to keep making that comparison, but I feel like that would be the perfect movie to pair it with. 2001.
Yeah. Well, I think sonically there are some moments on this album that there's a song specifically that I think sounds like Radiohead by way of Pink Floyd, and very much Pink Floyd in the Dark Side era.
All right. Thanks for letting me extend that. So you wanted to talk about facts and figures, I think?
Yeah, or just to like get a little background information on.
Yeah.
I mean, we've covered some things already, but yeah, I know you have some notes there, and I have some notes, and let's mush those notes together like two computers sharing information across the superhighway.
Totally. So they had been touring a lot. There's sort of a consistent theme I've noticed with Radiohead is like,
doesn't sound like they like touring very much.
No, it
does
doesn't. But I feel like they have evolved to like it. But I don't know. You've seen them live, so you can tell me about that.
Well, they didn't say that they weren't having fun when I saw them.
No, but I mean, they don't. The footage from this era, though, they don't look stoked.
Well, they probably are able to tour at their own pace now. At this point, they're still, employees of a record label who are. It's compulsory that they do these super lengthy international tours.
Well, and speaking of the record label, Radiohead decided while touring the Bends that they were going to self-produce this album, which is I think it was a mixed bag for the band, like mentally, as far as how much it taxed them. It sounds like Phil and Ed did not like that, because the way they kind of talk about like the songwriting process without somebody there cracking the whip, so to speak, is, and they did have a producer, which we'll talk about in a second, but it's a big deal to you have to really focus.
Yeah.
And, where all the corporate annoyingness and bullshit, you're like, oh, that's awful. Where that can really come in handy is like in anything. You get an organized kind of like driver, and that has its own downsides. But Ed and Phil were saying, we're on a first name basis now, we're saying that like they would get 3/4 of the way writing a song, and then they would just get sick of it or whatever the reason may be and kind of move on. But it was this feeling of incompleteness, which is funny because I think that really comes through on the record, right? Like the songs do bleed into one another, but this is that the first time where you're like kind of lost in the void, which happens a lot with Radiohead going forward. So like I said, they were gonna self-produce it. They did. EMI projected sales volume to underperform relative to the Benz and how much Pablo Honey had been.
Did someone mention my fucking name?
Right. Yeah. So the head
That's
of
my
EMI
character, head of EMI, by the way.
Paul.
Yeah.
I've got to come up with a more Brit sounding name.
Tony Bombadil.
Right. And I mean, so he was like EMI was not feeling optimistic about
Zach winked at me, ladies and gentlemen.
About how it was going to sell, which I also understand, but it's also like who got the last laugh.
It seems like a theme with Radiohead that their record label is like always like, they've gone too bloody far this time.
Right.
Okay, computer.
What's it even about? Yeah, I mean, you could just picture like trying to market this thing was a real challenge.
Is this a rock band or is this record made by fucking IBM?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it does. It's like right from the top too. You can kind of hear just the what is the first track on the Planet Telex?
Yeah,
like kind of a spacey weird thing. But this one, it really like comes out with an ambiguous bang. But they called the album difficult to market and uncommercial, and so this is cool because it kind of created an effect of bad promotion, which in turn created like private anticipation. So amongst all their fans and, you know, Radiohead were, and this is something they've been great at, is being underground, but not, you know, like people know Radiohead, but they're not totally like Coldplay or U2.
Well, we've talked about this a lot. They're really exceptional at being massively successful while remaining extremely non-commercial, which is, I mean, I don't know how you do that other than make music that is just undeniable like theirs is. It really, I don't know how you do it other than just be that good.
Well, yeah, but I think about like a band like Fish or something.
I was just thinking of
Fish. Who are
yeah.
like I understand Fish can like sell out Golden Gate Park or whatever, you know, like but I couldn't sing one Fish song to you, and I have listened to them and I think they're fine, but they are like definitively underground, even though I'm sure they want for nothing. Like they're not a struggling act. But Radiohead are bigger than that, but like in an indescribable way, because they also, you don't hear Radiohead. I don't listen to the radio, but like, you know, you wouldn't hear them on the radio too often besides maybe Creep, or maybe it just has to do with how fiercely guarded they are about not letting their music go into like films and commercials and stuff. But I think it's more than that. Just not quite sure what it is.
I think it just might be just that they care so much about making good music. They've just never they've never farted an album out because of a contractual obligation. They, you know, even for better or worse, for albums that I absolutely adore and ones that aren't my favorite, it seems that every single one of them has been
deliberate,
a deliberate and a real labor that they're like not going to put it out until they are satisfied with the product. And I think I just think that resonates with their audience.
Yeah, and this is kind of crazy that you say that too, because the Benz was 95. I don't know if it was a spring or a fall release, but this one was October 1997. So
I have it as released in May of 1997.
Okay.
May 21st. Let's just double check my sourcing here.
I
I'm
mean,
using a
right.
source called Wikipedia. 21st of May.
Oh, okay. Maybe the Benz was a fall release then. So that's even less of a gap. So 2 years nonetheless at the most. And we were already, you know, talked about in detail, and we will, about like how much the band seemed to progress. But the next album after this one is 3 years. So to write these new songs, record them in a 2-year span, even though, to your point, they didn't fart out this album at all, this seems very deliberate, is incredible. But I do think this is kind of the last time that they are sort of under the thumb of like, got to put out an album, got to not stay relevant necessarily, but stay like top of mind maybe.
Sure.
And that's incredible too, because they were on a break from touring, trying to record. I mentioned that they were, kind of struggling to get through the writing and recording process. They were at a place called Canned Applause, is the recording studio. And it sounds like it was a really miserable experience there because there weren't any bathrooms or eating facility, like mess halls, basically.
Yeah.
So that just sounds like prison.
So they're just like sitting around in their own piss and shit.
Well, that's why Johnny Greenwood specifically didn't like it. He talks about it in this documentary of that
am I
era.
supposed to use the loo?
Hold it, eh? Just hold it.
You made him Canadian though. Hold it,
With
yeah.
the A, but the voice was good. Yeah, just hold it. So yeah, that sounds fucking miserable. Then they went on tour with Alanis Morissette in 1996, and that's always going to get your creative juices flowing. I'm sure.
Opening for Alanis Morissette,
Right?
which
Oh my God.
no disrespect to Alanis Morissette,
no.
but that's a wild billing.
Yeah, that's a jagged little pill to swallow now.
Oh, nice.
It's ironic.
Yeah. Okay, computer.
Right. So no, I think Radiohead, as much as they appeared a little awkward in the touring, maybe not awkward, but a little exhausted, it really, really helped kind of get their minds reset for no other reason than you're sick of playing the same 24 songs.
Right.
So they went back, they chose a different studio. This place is called St. Catherine's Court. No, I'm sorry. St. Catherine's Court. It was the second location. Have you seen pictures of this place?
Yeah, it was like an abbey for Catholic monks. And
It's beautiful.
It's
It looks like a
gorgeous.
castle.
It's usually like a cool thing, I think, when bands record in like a decrepit old mansion.
Yeah, and
Like I really think that, like, because a lot of bands do it when they have reached a certain level of success, and that seems like, to me, I just picture that being a really, really cool environment to make an album in.
Totally. And we'll talk about it as we go through the tracks. I think it'll be kind of a fun little game for us to try and assign, like, basically what they did is like they would purposefully record in rooms without good acoustics, specifically on the vocals. And I think that really comes through on specific songs that you can hear like an echo, or it sounds like there's maybe some sort of weird effect on Tom York's singing. And it's actually not really too much digitization. It's just that they were like, go sing this in a grand ballroom, basically.
Yeah.
So this was much more conducive to a like smooth recording process, and they officially brought on Nigel Godrich when they went to the second location to kind of help rein them in a little bit and organize. So
I think
that's a lot
turned
of
out to be a great move for their
It did
not just this album, but like their career, because as we said last time, that's a career-long collaboration. They've produced every album with Nigel Godrich since this one.
And I didn't think we forgot to talk about it, but we were just talking about the things that we kind of perceive or know that, like, hey, they grew a lot. Nigel Godrich is like, this album feels so different and so like mature. I think in large part because of his help, not because of him. But in interviews and, articles and all that, he is so puts the band first, even though I think it'd be very easy to kind of say, yes, I really helped the band grow. And I mean, he seems like a humble guy, but he is so into like, I was hands off. It's really hard to get him to articulate how he even helped them, even though it's so distinct.
Yeah.
Especially,
I think they just really like him. And like, I mean, I'm not
he
saying
was like their Magic Alex.
Yeah, totally. I didn't mean that like they just at the exclusion of him being incredibly talented. Because when you hear other albums he's produced, Beck stuff that he's produced, or like Paul McCartney stuff that he's produced, like he has a very distinctive sheen that he puts on music. But it seems to me like it's like a very spirited collaboration where he's really encouraging of like their best ideas, and maybe hands off in the ways that would be irritating for a band.
I think so. And I think where
he's not trying to like hem them in, he's letting them explore.
Well, I think where Radiohead were not necessarily struggling, but they were reaching for on the bends is like non-musical additions to either start or close out a song. Like you hear it in Planet Telex, or even in the bends. Most of the time it's just a voice or like a noise or something. But like in this song, on almost every track, there's something like a non-musical sound effect that really, really, I think, is a producer's mark. In the kind of the same way George Martin helped the Beatles like merge in A Day in the Life, like this big orchestral build to a fragmented song that Paul had written.
Right.
And it doesn't feel like super coherent, but that's sort of the beauty of it.
It's kind of like how Daniel Day-Lewis's character in Phantom Thread like sews his like initials into like little hidden areas of the dress or whatever. That's Nigel Godrich.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you use Beck as an example. There's something distinct about that album Sea Change where not before or after has Beck done some. I mean, Beck's done a lot of different genres, but like just the little, it's almost indescribable, but I think you probably know what I'm talking about. Like the little marks where you go, oh, I could kind of hear that, in a Radiohead
he has
song.
a really distinct like sonic atmosphere that he puts over everything.
Largely probably
without
because
it
of
being
that.
distracting too.
Oh, totally.
He doesn't like force too many bells and whistles on it, but
No, and his background was in like dance electronica too, which is really cool that he was able to bring that. So I mean that was a lot of information, but I think it's we had both written down something.
I want to get to
Yeah.
that, but before we do that, I did just want to say I think the most surprising thing for me about this kind of session that I've been spending with the album, and I read a 33 and a third zine about this album a few years ago, like 10 years ago, but yeah, I really was like coming to this like not super familiar with like the background of the recording process, and you touched on it. I think the thing that kind of surprised and delighted me the most in researching this album was how much of it is done live.
Yeah.
And that just impresses the hell out of me.
Agreed.
Because these songs are so intricate and some of them have so many disparate parts all shoved together, and there's so much noise on this album that is like we've said, like is kind of an evolution of some of the stuff they were playing with on the last album. And I'm so impressed. And as much as I think critics sometimes get it wrong and are up their own asses, there was a quote from Spin magazine about this album.
Spin was still good back then.
Sure. I mean, and they were good with what they said here. They described this album as a DIY electronica album made with guitars. And I just thought that was a really good summation of what makes this album so interesting to listen to. Is the songs are composed as if they have been chopped and screwed digitally, but they're just not just obviously, but it's really light on overdubs and kind of studio post meddling, and that's it. I just was really, really blown away at learning how much of this album was made in the room.
Yeah, Ed O'Brien, the
handsome man,
said that about 80% of it was recorded live. And so you go, okay, well, what was the missing 20? I think the other 20 would be the vocals. And,
but Tom
else.
said a lot of his,
like one take maybe?
A lot of these are first takes because he didn't want to like get too in his head.
Yeah. And
I think his voice sounds better than it has on either of the albums.
It does. And like one of the things that I love about Tom York's singing is that he kind of floats above whatever melody, and as the melodies get harder and harder to discern, especially on this album and all going forward, like each time you see a Radiohead performance of a great song, he'll pick his spots differently.
Yeah.
And I think that, he obviously sounds like crystal clear and amazing on this album, but it does feel like he's sort of not improvising, but like floating in a way that if he had too much time to practice it wouldn't be there as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was blown away by that too.
Yeah, really, really fucking cool. So you were getting to it. Let's talk about, we both, independently of knowing that the other person did this, we both...
Guys, I swear.
Yeah. This is that sibling thing that you get from listening, is we think alike, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll find out if we sound alike by if you can tell our voices apart on the... if people say our voices are too similar, as you pointed out they may be in the first episode, I should just give pitch one of us way down or up. But we both wrote down a handful of albums that came out in 1997. I'd like to hear what you wrote down and what I wrote down, see if there's crossover there. The one thing I noticed is when you look at the kind of critically acclaimed and / or popular music of this year, there's a lot of established artists making a real transition in their sound or their career. And there's also the emergence of what will be really, really important artists over the next couple decades. So why don't you?
Yeah, I just went through the top 40 albums of the year, and I kind of felt like it was more lopsided towards artists that were maybe on the back half.
Okay.
That are still around today. So I did not write these, 1 to 40. I didn't write all 40, but so Radiohead's OK Computer was number 1. Number 2 was Bjork, who I have not done a big I'm saying it right, Bjork, right?
Yep.
I've not done a big dive because every time I have, I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's Bjork.
Oh, but the umlaut is Bjork. No, Bjork.
I'm really woefully underfamiliar with Bjork's music too. I know she's incredibly important to a lot of people whose tastes I really respect. So that's a hole I'm excited to fill.
Including Radiohead, I think, too. I think they're...
Yeah.
So she was number 2. Janet Jackson's album, I didn't write the name of the album, but she had an album that was number 6. The Foo Fighters, number 9. Now, the Foo Fighters, are
this album is on my list.
Yeah, are still relevant, but I would kind of tie Dave Grohl to Nirvana in that way, so it's sort of like half in, half out.
But this is the album that came out in 97 is Color and Shade, which I
love that
got
album.
back into listening to in the last couple of years, and I think really, really holds
great.
up.
Yeah.
It's a really great album.
Number 12 was the aforementioned U2, the album Pop. Now, that one is interesting just because of where they were in their career and where Radiohead are and will go.
And another, I think, an example of a band struggling to redefine itself.
Absolutely.
They're a few years away from Octoon Baby. They're kind of, I would say, maybe struggling for relevance. And
3 years before this, All That You Can't Leave Behind, which came out the exact same year and month as Kid A.
There you go.
Number 15 was Wu-Tang Clan, pretty timeless. Not much to say there. I just thought it was an interesting addition.
Yep.
And number 40 was Metallica's Reload. Now, very, very different bands and sounds, but Metallica, to this day, I think are obviously beloved and kind of eternal. But this album sucks, I think.
But does it have Fuel?
It does.
I love that song.
I know. I feel like I know my brother so well, where I thought that story was gonna go to, man, that song's dumb. But you're like, yeah, I was at the gym and Fuel came on and it was great. I was like, what?
It's like a dumb song, but it's like a really catchy melody and great riff. And but I know people hate that album because it's like them
Unforgiven 2.
not being a metal band. They're like just being kind of a rock band at that point.
Totally, yeah. And I mean,
they do sound kind of like bar bandy on that album, but
Yeah, I it's just interesting to think okay, wow, so a lot of these bands, U2, Metallica, regardless of their genre spanning differences, it is sort of not the mighty falling, but only in hindsight can you see oh wow, the tide was turning. I expected it to be more the other direction, oh wow, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, or whatever, Britney Spears were all, but they were maybe 1 to 2 years later.
Sure.
So I think maybe just my perception of what was big at the time is off because I was 8 years old. And I feel like it was a snapshot of people that were on the back half. But then you can talk more about the up and comers, please.
Yeah, well, those are great. I had a couple of the ones you mentioned on my list, but just some other albums that came out that year. So, some really interesting stuff happening in hip hop. Missy Elliott's debut album came out that year, Supa Dupa Fly, which is a great record. You've got Erykah Badu's debut album, Baduism, who is somebody that I've become a little more familiar with, the breadth of her career in the last couple of years, and it's a really good album. And she's still making albums today, so the beginning of a long career there. You have Daft Punk's debut, Homework.
I saw that one. Built to Spill.
You got a Built to Spill album. You have Dig Me Out by Slater-Kinney, album I really, really love. And I think an interesting kind of relic of post-grunge experimental, kind of stripping it back down, you know, doing like a more punk rock approach to that genre again. You got Biggie's posthumous Life After Death. You have Bob Dylan doing Time Out of Mind.
Right.
And this is an album when people were like, Dylan's all washed up. And then it has
So sort of his comeback, right?
It's a big comeback, really moody, kind of dark album, and has a song that I think won an Oscar for Dead Man Walking. And on as of the date of this recording, an album that turns 25 today, you have Elliott Smith's Either Or.
That's right. And that was actually higher than expected because of the movie kind of promotion.
Well,
correct?
this is his last independently produced record. So it's him doing a much fuller band sound, but pre-EXO. And so it's still like kind of lo-fi in its recording, but it's no longer him with like, you know, double tracking acoustic guitar and vocals on a tape machine. It's in the studio. And another one too, just artists like in transition. You also have Mariah Carey's Butterfly, which was her album where after being kind of forced by like the suits at her label into this like adult contemporary lane, she's getting to do what is more interesting to her, which is doing like R&B and having rappers feature on that album and stuff. So I just think there's like a really interesting kind of new wave coming at this point in music of bands like kind of bands and artists who have secured enough of a legacy that they're able to like take ownership of what the fuck they want to be doing, and then new stuff coming. I mean, to have Homework and Erykah Badu's Erykah Badu's debut in the same year, to me, is like just a really interesting kind of sea change.
Well, it's also interesting. Blur and Oasis both have an album. I think Oasis, this was the last. I'm not a big fan of theirs, but I know that they're really important to a lot of people. And certainly like Radiohead's cousin, I would say at this point.
Yeah, I think they're kind of like the like drunk shitty cousin at the family reunion that you don't want to talk to.
Yeah. But like at, you know, as you're hitting your like later teenagers, you're like, this person sucks.
Yeah, I think Oasis is dog shit.
I do too, but I mean they're like the YouTube algorithm like doesn't understand me after all this time. It's like sometimes it'll recommend like why Oasis is the greatest band after I'm watching like how Radiohead use key changes, and I'm just like, no, I'm not interested.
Right.
Like it's like a pesky telemarketer.
It's like how I like watch like lefty political stuff all the time, and so they're just like, surely you must love Jordan Peterson. Why don't you love Jordan Peterson?
I only mentioned Blur too because I know that like the Benz is frequently compared to like it's good, but it could have been easily a Blur album. I don't know if that's like but I've heard several people like on whatever kind of medium, like when they talk about like how OK Computer blows them away, that comparison is often made. So,
okay, fair enough. Oh, one other album that I think I should mention just because of like the seismic impact it had on culture, how it changed rock music, and how it kind of brought us as a society forward by leaps and bounds, that came out in 1997 is The Offspring's Ixnay on the Ombre. So moving on.
Yeah, not in the same way Americana did thereafter, but it's close. So yeah,
it was the bridge that would get them to Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
Right. It's a really interesting snapshot though, because like it's so easy to think back and go, you know, because we both love Radiohead and go, you know, music was in a shitty place. And it's like, no, it wasn't. There's actually a lot of really good music. I think that 98 and 99, and maybe I'll prove myself wrong, but we're not going to study those years because there's no Radiohead albums. Like I do think it got progressively like just harder to discern what the identity of at least American music was. I know that this album had a really profound impact on like the way Brit kind of pop or rock and roll was geared to be maybe a little bit darker in tone, and like OK Computer did influence music that way. But I don't know. I think this is sort of like I was really delighted to see kind of a lot of the albums that I love or I have heard of. I think that Mariah Carey album is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
So anyways, yeah, it's an interesting snapshot for sure.
Just a couple other like housekeeping things before we go track and track. This album, as you said, expected to not perform commercially. Debuts at I don't know if it debuts. It hits number 1 on the charts in the UK, number 21 in the US. Show maybe a slight difference in like cultural appreciation there.
Right.
I know they're kind of like, I think we're idiots in this country, and they seem like kind of idiots in that country too, but in a very similar way. We come from them. But maybe a slightly higher appreciation for arts, I would say, based on just this alone and just some of their comedy shows that we see and things like that. They got it a little more in the UK, but does really, really well worldwide.
Well, also we were talking about hip hop, and I think you really enjoy a lot of those albums. Hip hop was kind of just, I think, coming into, go easy on me, but kind of coming into mainstream consciousness in the States a lot more. And it wasn't like MC Hammer, this kind of novel thing. It was like, no, this is like legit good music.
Right.
And I don't think that the same was hitting in Britain yet, and so maybe there was slightly less selection. I don't know. But
that's a good question. I mean, it definitely, like, I think had kind of completely taken over MTV and the radio at this point here. I don't know if that was true in the UK or not.
Well, when I build my time machine, we'll find out.
And the singles from this album, just to lay this on you, I think these are like such amazingly crazy, audacious things for a band to put out as a single. First single from this album is Paranoid Android.
Can you imagine selling that to the record label? Like, hey, go.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck is it? The only bit that makes sense is the bloody 4 count on the metronome.
That's what we got, isn't it?
The rest is Paranoid Android. Okay, fuck? Computer. Sing about shagging birds.
I can't wait till they make the Radiohead biopic similar to Bohemian Rhapsody, and they bring it in. And he's like, what is this shit? You know, like, a 6-minute song. You're telling me? It's, yeah.
You know what I kept thinking of is, the sketches on the early Eminem albums where he's talking to his record, Steve Berman, and the line where he's like, do you know why Dre's record was so successful? Because he was rapping about blunts, 40s, and bitches. You're rapping about homosexuals and Vicodin. I can't sell this fucking record. I keep thinking of that.
That's like, great.
You know why the Benz was so successful? Or I guess it'd be like Oasis. Do you know why Oasis was so successful? Because they were singing about getting high and getting drunk. You're singing about social alienation.
Now put on your John Lennon glasses and because that's Oasis's thing.
Yeah. Their thing is just...
In case you didn't know, Walker.
Yeah. They're just the Beatles, sounding like the Beatles. In
God,
the 90s.
Yeah. They suck.
And then we've got Karma Police, Lucky, and No Surprises. Karma Police, I think, an equally kind of like challenging... Not equally, but another really challenging single. Lucky and No Surprises seem a little more radio-friendly to me, but all of these are like kind of somber, weird songs.
Well, Lucky was recorded in one day and is what was sort of the bridge from their touring with Alanis to having Nigel Godrich be the full-time producer along with them, because they had worked with him slightly on the bends, and I think Lucky was written and recorded for like a charity type album.
Yeah, they were commissioned by Brian Eno to do a song.
Yeah. And it is funny that one not funny. It makes sense that that's a single because it's in like Radiohead fashion. There's like some cool different kind of chord progression, but it is a pretty straight song as far as singles go compared to pretty much the rest of those.
Do you have any more background information? At this point, we're already talking about the songs. I feel like we should get into it track by track. Did you have any other background information?
It was nominated for Album of the Year. It won Best Alternative Album. That I think
nominated for Album of the Year by who?
The Grammys.
Okay,
I want to say the ones that matter.
I gotcha.
But no, that's
pretty much
it.
It's nominated for. I'm going to say it's nominated for Album of the Decade by Idiotech, a Radiohead podcast.
Totally.
And who won, Zach?
Of the 3 that we have to choose from, or all of them?
Let's say of the 3 we have to choose. Oh, wait, are the only albums we're nominating for Best Album of the Decade Radiohead albums?
Yes.
Okay. Open the envelope, please.
The winner is La La Land. No, sorry. Okay, computer. Sorry, guys. The accounting firm we hired fucked us over. Thanks, Warren Beatty. No, it's for sure. I don't know of an album in the 1990s, honestly, including all of music. Shocking that I would choose a Radiohead album. But I mean, there's some great albums in this decade, and it's my favorite.
The 90s is one of the late 60s and mid 90s are probably my two favorite eras for music, for popular music at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of 1982. I think, particularly in America, music was in a great place.
What do you have in 1982?
Nothing. It's it's like the 70s is forgotten, and it's all. I'm sure there's stuff I love, but I think the 80s is a rough decade for me.
I think once you I mean, there's things on the commercial front can be a little bit bereft at certain points, but I don't think there is actually any point in history where there's just not good music being made.
No, of course not.
Sometimes what is popular in the mainstream and resonates with me artistically lines up very nicely. And the late 90s is definitely one of those times, as seen by Radiohead's Okay Computer.
Cool your jets, buddy.
Do you think this album, their original title was Okay Boomer? That they saw that meme coming?
No, but I mean, we were talking about the propheticness
what if
of it.
It was called Okay Boomer? Would you enjoy this album as much if everything about it was the same, but it was called Okay Boomer?
Yeah.
And the cover art, instead of the cool cover art, it was
like a big fat guy.
yeah, or I was gonna say like a cool Gen Z kid kind of saying Okay Boomer.
No, but I mean, if it was called that, then I don't think boomer would take on the same meaning now. But the genius to computer is a word. Imagine if they made it more specific, okay, iPhone or something. But so they nailed it there. Good job, guys.
Yeah, well done on this album. That's what I'd like to say. Radiohead, well done.
You get all the way to the backstage. You their stage managers said they know you got to keep it quick, and you just go, you did a good job on that album. Yeah. You just walk away.
I know. What if you can only compliment them? You have a quick audience with Radiohead, and they're like, okay, the guys are really busy. They don't really like doing meet and greets. They've said that they have time for one. Zach, Radiohead, your favorite band, they reluctantly agreed to meet you. They will allow you to give them one compliment. And you can't just say, I love your music.
Right.
You have to give them one specific compliment.
I mean, that's not a compliment, really. Yeah, it has to be. God, dude, I don't know. I mean, they're not. This is a hypothetical, and I'm struggling. I can't imagine how dumbstruck I would be if it actually materialized.
I think I'm gonna have to say, Tom, I like your aviator sunglasses on the liner notes of Pablo Honey.
I think I would compliment Phil, and I would say, dude, way to embrace the hair loss. You look so good compared to Pablo Honey and the Benz.
There you go.
Yeah, and he'd be like, what the fuck? Get out of my face.
Yeah. I'm not even bald. This is a stylistic choice.
Yeah. No, let's hit the tracks, shall we?
Let's go through the album 1997's OK Computer. So starting off with the album, we have the opening track, Airbag. Such a great Phil. From Phil.
Yeah. I don't want to talk.
I know.
Yeah. Does this fall into the category of the Radiohead jam or groove that you were talking about, or is this not so much in that area? Walker's eating a tangerine. I chose a really poor time to ask him a question.
I chose a really poor time to eat. So many hours of the day where we're not recording a podcast that I could be stuffing my face. This song is groovy, but you know what I think this song is a really good example of is the sound that we were talking about. This to me is one that really, really sounds like a song written on a computer and then played with live instruments. I guess they are using some looping on Phil's drums. And then the way Colin in this song, his bass cuts in and out. I'm sure with a great deal of precision, but it feels slightly unpredictable and random to me, the listener. And it reminds me of if, a DJ was sitting there randomly dropping the bass and drums in and out. I think it's a perfect opener, and it's another opener just like the last album that's a real statement saying we're doing something very different here.
Yeah, Radiohead's openers, the opening track on their albums, I would say starting with the Bends, they continue to increase in their quality for me. This is such a strong statement. What I think is really cool about it that is unique to this album and then the albums going forward is this song doesn't really have a chorus. And like Radiohead, I think the reason why people's ears are tickled when they hear Radiohead as something different is because, and that's a hard thing to pick out, is structure is different in their songs. Like this song, you could maybe pick out a chorus, but it doesn't stand out at all.
Sure, I guess it would be that interstellar buzz, right?
But they kind of are also a verse too. I mean, it's the only thing that repeats, but like that's not in Western music how a chorus is defined necessarily. I mean, as the album goes on, that'll happen more and more. The other thing that I think often comes to me with Tom York's singing in particular is that he kind of floats above a melody, and it's neither like somber, which would be minor, or dark, nor is it like bright and happy like a major, because this song's melody its tonal center is ambiguous.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't feel like it's in a minor key. Let's listen to this jam at the end, because I think this is really
it's my favorite part.
Cool. The bass in and out here. Backing vocals group in here. Oh.
And then we got that main riff comes back in. It's my favorite part.
Both Glenn Brothers' heads are satisfying, just bobbing up and down right now. So good.
I'm getting chills. And the way it just ends, Radiohead are so good at lulling you into a false sense of, we get another build and another pop. And that's like, it leaves you longing just a bit more.
So we get right after that metronome into Paranoid Android, a song that you consider to be kind of a throwaway.
Yeah. We can just kind of let this play in the background.
This song sucks. We hate it. I don't even like this album or this band.
No, this song occupies the 3 spot in my favorite Radiohead songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
like ever of their entire catalog.
And I take it that 1 or 2 have not come up in our discussion of the albums so far.
Correct. Yeah.
They're not on the bends.
No.
Or is your favorite Radiohead song Anyone Can Play Guitar?
Philosophically, yes.
Yeah, so this one was, they were inspired by Happiness is a Warm Gun, is what made them want to do this thing where they force together these different kind of disparate sections.
Mm-hmm. The name of this song is taken from Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
And also the name of the album.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, computer. I wonder if I can turn off that echo of us.
Is there an echo in here?
Let the song play. You know what? I could do it there. Now, can you still hear it?
Our vocals kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's a little echoey. I have an echo.
What's that talking on the track that they're doing? Do you know?
I may be paranoid, but not an android.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Maybe if I turn off feedback protection. Is that Johnny on the electric piano?
It's got to be.
Probably won't get any more rockin' than this.
Mm-mm. He's just climbing the scale. Listen to Colin.
Surely that's all the rock they have in them. Oh, God. You sons of bitches.
This is peak. I can't play a normal guitar solo.
But would you want him to? Okay.
That was a great song.
Yeah, we had our fun. Oh my God. You blokes.
Surely they won't modulate. I was just saying the opposite of everything that they do. And there is some recording trickery happening in that there's vocals are layered, but it's all Tom York.
Oh, he's...
Mhm.
Also, is the low vocal digitally altered?
I don't know. It sounds like it could be.
It's so low. Turn off this.
And let's hold on to this section because I don't want to talk over it, but this is really important. It's the first time thing Radiohead are doing in this part. Vibrato.
I love the lyrics here.
What's that?
I love the lyrics here.
Mhm.
The panic, the vomit, the cracking of the pigskin. It's all
Great song. It's over, right?
Ah, you got us again.
You can hear him screaming there.
I've never really noticed that.
Then they digitize it. They should have called this album The Bends.
All these guitar bends. Best part right here. Zach's miming a shaker.
That's what Ed's doing.
Ed desperately brought out the shaker just to have something to do. All right, so at that point, I feel like they've kind of taken you to Crazy Town. And here we get what I consider to be the first kind of like them letting you up for air on the album. This is Subterranean Homesick Alien. I think this song is very understated in how weird it is.
Agreed.
It's like one of the most like, if I was a pot smoking man, I would very much like to like roll and smoke a doobie to this song. It's so pleasing sonically, but I was listening to it on headphones earlier today, and for such a pretty song, like musically, it's pretty chaotic when it gets to those choruses.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this tune?
I like this song. I used to like it more than I do now, and there's nothing I dislike about it. And I think part of the genius of this album compared to the Bends is the sequencing is so perfect. And we were talking about comparing it to Dark Side of the Moon. I feel like OK Computer, some people have called it a concept album. The concepts are broad and a bit vague, but I think it's this is like if it was or is in any way, this is like a very nice interlude to what we just experienced. And I don't ever know if it's like because my mind was so blown by what I just heard in the previous two tracks, which run together like companion pieces. I mean, they're very different songs, but like you need the end of Airbag to go into Paranoid Android and kind of enhance it. This one, I think we're going back into maybe U2 influence territory, even though U2 would never write something this complex. I don't know what it is.
It's definitely like it's like a little more of like a, it's interesting to me that this isn't a single because I think it's one of the more radio-friendly songs. But I think you have it right on the money. This album is perfectly sequenced, and they really pick the pretty moments very carefully, and it's usually after you've dealt with something really abrasive, like Paranoid Android. So I really like this song, and I really like its placement.
Yeah, they definitely dial down the amount of instruments playing simultaneously, which is a really wise choice.
Yes, but the keyboards go real. The Johnny on the Rhodes in this one, he starts playing some crazy scales in those last couple choruses.
And one thing, I think this might be a good place to interject it. One thing they do really well with the Rain Down section in Paranoid Android, the previous song, is we could talk about it at the end, but the music and vocal style do something called word painting, and I think this song carries that over. I mean, just the title, Subterranean Homesick Alien, the song feels very spacey and sort of psychedelic. Which you could say that and be like, let's make a spacey psychedelic song. Then executing is really hard.
Yeah, totally. And the title is a riff on the Bob Dylan song Subterranean Homesick Blues. And the lyrics seem to be from the perspective of someone who believes they were abducted by aliens or perhaps is an alien. I kind of think of it as somebody who is out of place because they are an alien who's waiting to be picked back up.
That's how I interpret it. And maybe like they're even stuck in like a human body or something.
Sure.
But I have to pay him a compliment. I was going to say that's what I would ask them, but
right here, these keyboards right here. I love that. Now, here's a question I have. I don't necessarily feel like we have to focus on this, but it came up in the last episode. So Tom York is like a sober guy?
I don't know. I know that he was his drinking was out of control during the touring of this album, and he had a nervous breakdown.
Of this album?
Yeah, so 97, 98 on the supporting tour for this album is when he was drinking to excess. I don't know that he is, not drinking now.
Right. But I think he Okay, but he has professed to have like cleaned up his act and like gotten sober at some point. I was just curious if it was before this album, because I think the lyrics on this album, they really do sound like somebody grappling with like a new level of kind of anxiety. But I guess also maybe that could have more to do with becoming super huge.
So this song, listeners, you probably recognize, was written and recorded for Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet.
Yes.
And I believe is in the twilight of the film, the exit music.
Yes.
After
this is exit
Juliet.
music for a film.
Is Juliet a Capulet or a Romulet? I always forget.
It's
not Romulet, Montague.
She's
Romulet. It's like Star Trek.
I don't know. I think she's a Capulet.
She is, yeah. Romeo Montague. Don't love this song. I know this is a fan favorite. Don't dislike it. I didn't mean to spill the tea too early there.
No, I'm shocked. I adore this song, and when Colin comes in on that distorted bass, to me is like his shining moment of the album. On an album where the bass playing is
spectacular.
Spectacular, and also I think mixed much more forward in the mix than it was on their first two albums. So like the rhythm section in this album is out in full force because the guitars are doing so much wall of sound atmosphere. They really lean on Phil and Colin to like hold the bones of the song together. But I love this song, and I love this part with the...
I love this part as well.
The sampled voice, and choral setting on like a cheap keyboard.
Exactly, and I was wondering if during the Rain Down section of the... sorry guys, a different song, but that sounds like it could be the same effect too. Almost like when Ferris Bueller's playing with his piano.
Now, knowing that you don't love this song aside, I do think that it's interesting to kind of mark the two sides of the recording sessions for this album. And I do think you can really tell the change in mood here. So they recorded Electioneering, we haven't heard yet. No Surprises, we haven't heard it yet. Subterranean Homesick Alien, the one we just heard in The Tourist. They recorded all those in the first batch when they were still at Canned Applause Studio. And then this was the first song they recorded in the mansion. And I think that that first batch is more of the like kind of psychedelic, not upbeat,
Subterranean
but like
Homesick
prettier.
Alien and The Tourist really match one another musically in a way.
Yeah. And then here I just think that the other batch of songs on this album, this, Subterranean, Homesick Alien, Airbag, we are dealing with like kind of a dirtier, darker, more paranoid sound. And right here, I just want to play this part because the bass line here is fucking insane. Come on, tell me you're not feeling this.
Oh, I love this part.
Also, we talked over it, but where Phil comes in on this song, I love. He's doing a super restrained, like Ringo Starr Phil to come in. So is this we haven't talked about highlights and lowlights. Is this perhaps your lowlight of the album?
No.
There's a song you like less than this song.
I think,
It's not Fit or Happier, is it?
No. I really love that. It's like, is this the fifth song or the fourth?
This is track 4.
Okay. I'd say that we have a quick halftime check-in because I'm referencing songs that I've already played over new ones.
Okay.
But we can do it after the fifth song. I don't know how many tracks are on this album.
Fifth song, I would say another more uplifting mood comes in, even though the lyrics are, I would say, downbeat.
Yeah.
This is Let Down.
I love this song. So along with exit music, this song also, they chose a room in St. Catherine's Court that was not conducive to like traditionally how you'd record vocals. And you can hear that with the echo, sort of dissonance.
This song is so beautiful. Johnny Greenwood is playing in a different time signature than the rest of the band. He's playing in 5/4. And so his guitar part loops around in this strange way that gives the songs an interesting spice, I would say.
Yeah, and before I make this comparison again, I just want to say I've listened to other bands besides Radiohead and U2. But...
yeah, the Beatles.
And Pink Floyd, as we discovered earlier. This song, to me, like you mentioned the time signature, there's something so Radiohead about it, but I think on this album in particular, in this song, there's the last traces of U2 influence, which, and I think it's more in the way Tom York kind of layers and builds his vocals. Not layers, but he builds them in a crescendo a little bit. And if there was one less guitar track, I could totally see Edge doing a shittier version of this.
I think that's a good point. I also think him and Ed are in absolutely gorgeous vocal harmony in this song. And you know what I really hear in this song is the birth of early 2000s kind of anthemic indie rock. Like, I'm just like,
yeah,
does Death Cab for Cutie exist without this song? To me, this sounds very like Death Cab, Modest Mouse.
Modest Mouse, for sure, I get that.
Like,
oh, who also had their debut album this year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
A band I don't love, but have some really interesting stuff nonetheless.
You know, they have a huge catalog, and I'm only really familiar with like maybe 3 or 4 albums, but I really like the ones that I know. And I saw them live once, and they're a very good live band.
Nice. And this is one of those songs too where the lyrics are by no means on the nose, but
let's look at the lyrics. We haven't, because we have referenced, I think Tom York's lyrics take just a gigantic leap on this album.
Yeah.
And there's some motifs too in the one we just listened to, both in Paranoid Android and I was gonna say pigs are like a motif that comes up a couple times.
Oh, totally. That's why I want to do a halftime so we can discuss that song just a bit.
Okay.
Cool your jets, computer.
Yeah. Okay, computer. Wait, where does he say pig other than
kicking, squealing, Gucci little piggy,
and then the crackling of pigskin? But that's both in.
Oh, Airbag. He says, pig. Well, Karma Police, Karma Piggies.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I'll know it when we hear it. But there's also a pig in like the collage of artwork that makes up the liner's notes. There's a pig.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's just a slightly subverted reference to kind of like human cattle. Like
Absolutely.
All this just kind of being shoved through.
This
life.
is one of my favorite vocal points of the entire album.
Okay, here we go. I'll turn it up a little.
That is masterful recording and singing and everything. Did they play this song live when you saw them?
I don't remember.
I feel like Ed
I
would
don't think
rock.
so. I mean, I think that like at that point, the stuff they do from something as old as OK Computer tends to be like singles. Like they did Karma Police and they did Paranoid Android, and I
love this.
This also very much to me is like
Death Cab.
Death Cab.
Yeah. And who would Zooey Deschanel have married and then divorced if it weren't for Death Cab? Like you were saying, would we get Death Cab?
Yeah.
And,
pausing it so we can. I just want to read so
please.
Just one thing that I found in my research, you mentioned this before, that they wanted to move away from introspective lyrics.
Right?
And Then I read a quote from Tom York that we're still recording.
Okay.
I read a quote from Tom York that he didn't want to make an album like the Bends that was so morbid. And so he started writing down positive things that he saw. And the fact that this album is the result of that is really amazing to me, because I think this is such a, like, in lyrical content and also in sound at many points, is a really dark album.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think like this is like an incredibly somber mood for Radiohead. And that last song is so pretty and one of the more upbeat sounding songs on the album. But listen to some of these lyrics. Shell smash, juices flowing, wings twitch, legs are going, don't get sentimental, it always ends up drivel. One day I'm going to grow wings, a chemical reaction, hysterical and useless, let down and hanging around, crushed like a bug in the ground. On and on. I mean, this song is an example of my favorite thing. The Beach Boys do it a lot. Randy Newman does it a lot. Happy sounding, sad music.
Totally. And I think that it's interesting because Let Down is one of the more, same with No Surprises, which is upcoming, one of the more like happy kind of beautiful and deeply technical, but songs that I would probably describe like in a major key, pretty, and so, I mean, it's so amazing. The song is literally let down and more uplifting. I sort of think of this song as like maybe like the kind of perspective you have like in your early 20s or whenever, but like looking back on sort of Innocence Lost, like crushed like a bug, the way it's very visceral. Like for the first time, we're not talking so metaphysical. And
that's true. It's like more emotive.
It's hard not to admire this album and instantly slip into pretension, but it is that good. It's that inspired. And I think this album with Airbag and Let Down in particular, I haven't taken the time to memorize the lyrics, but I also am somebody that if I'm going to sing along to a song, I don't want to be the guy saying something ridiculous and like proudly belting it. But I don't care with a lot of songs on this album because I think it's about the feeling that it gives you, as opposed to is like, nobody's asking me to perform these, but I just want to like know the words I'm singing. Usually with artists, I don't need that on this one because I don't know. I don't know if you're the same way at all.
You have just given me the courage to confess something.
Hit me.
I thought the lyrics to this chorus were completely different. I have been singing, sometimes out in public with my headphones in. Let down and hanging around, correct. Hurts like a broken arm. That's what I thought he said.
Wow.
And I thought I had it right. And I'm horrible at knowing lyrics. Tom York, I wouldn't change a thing about his vocals, but he's kind of marble mouthed.
Oh, totally.
And I don't really read lyrics that often. And I would like to get better at that because I do love singing these songs and I love these melodies, but I really don't know the correct lyrics to most of my favorite Radiohead
Well,
songs.
you know, that they are unique in that way, though, because, you know, the surprising thing about Radiohead songs, pick a long one or pick one that's a normal, you know, length of time, 3-4 minutes, like that song. Tom York, I do believe is like very much a poet, and you could say songwriting is poetry, but I mean like, you know, stanzas in a certain specific style and type. And what's amazing about that is that he doesn't overwrite his songs.
Yeah, he doesn't even bother to rhyme a lot of the time.
No, but he'll stretch out a syllable into, you know, 3 to 7 seconds. And I think that, as a guy named William Shakespeare said, brevity is the soul of wit. And I think that's very much true. Like there's so many songs that they demonstrate this on, but it shows a lot of restraint and a lot of like trust in what you can do vocally to not be like, okay, well, this has to rhyme or you know, whatever the case may be. And talking about lyrics, I did want to just point out, I don't know if anyone else has observed this, so I don't have a source to cite. In the Rain Down section of Paranoid Android, I think, tell me your thoughts on this, Walker, that Rain Down is sort of like cleansing, like wash me anew, sort of baptism, and the the vocals in the background, the sort of like operatic choir, I think is an example of word painting because it feels very much like Make Me Clean, Make Me Whole Again, New. And it sounds like it could be a church choir. I don't know if I'm even making my point correctly, but I think that's an early example. They do it in other songs really well. Word painting is always hard to like definitively say this is that.
Yeah.
But I get vibes of that. What do you think?
I think that's really smart. I think that I always interpreted that part as being about he's being consensually peed on by a group of people at like a sexy piss party.
Mm-hmm.
And the voices, the choral voices, are the people who,
like Eyes Wide Shut.
Like Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah.
Like I can see that.
And he's saying, "Rain down your hot urine on me."
Right.
And that's another allusion to pigs on this album. Is I think that's Tom York telling us that he is a piss pig.
Yeah. Yeah. Pigs notorious for producing the most semen of any mammal.
Is that true too?
Yeah,
I know about
true.
their like crazy long orgasms.
Oh, I did not know about that.
I've heard that pigs can have 30-minute orgasms, which to me just sounds like
that sounds like too much.
like wouldn't you go insane?
Yeah.
Like imagine having one that was like a full minute.
I mean, I don't have to imagine.
Oh.
It's been going on for the last 65
Listeners.
seconds. And I'm just making eye contact with you as if nothing's going on.
Zach's just been having a silent, hey, but what is the album OK Computer if not a 54-minute orgasm?
Or a pig orgasm. Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Yeah, it's two pig orgasms.
So I don't know if that my point made sense at all.
No,
but
it did.
I really think that's genius. No, because I mean, you think about writing a song like, how would I word paint? And I don't even know. It would be stupid.
Yeah.
What would be the result? And it's very much like this album. I think kind of a chicken or the egg thing. Like, do they consciously know? Like, okay, let's make this sound like an operatic choir. I think the answer is no, because I think Radiohead are very operatic in all of their songs. But that's genius. I mean, in a 3-part song that is pretty not congruent or incongruous, that's genius.
I agree. I only had my dumb thing to add, so
that's
that's
great.
what
I loved it. Do I have anything else? No. I don't need to know the lyrics on Let Down or Airbag. I have to know them for Paranoid Android and Exit Music.
Shall we go into the next song?
Yeah, I don't remember what's next, so I'm really excited.
You don't remember what's next, huh? That's really no big deal. It's a trifle, really. Second single of the album, one of the few Radiohead songs with relatively simple enough chords that I know how to play it on guitar.
Great music video.
When the drums and bass kick in here, to me, it's got so much oomph right here. This is in my top 5 Radiohead songs.
Really?
Yeah, both of my favorite songs from this album are singles, which I feel a little bit like, hey, am I even a real... Here I am doing a Radiohead podcast. I'm going to pick 2 singles as my favorite songs off OK Computer. Surely my favorite song should be Fitter Happier. But
Well, this is one of those albums, though, where I know every song isn't a single, but this is sort of like a lost art of making albums now that has been lost to like streaming. I feel like you really need every song on this album to make it a complete picture. And that's not to say the songs don't stand alone on their own 2 feet at all. I keep mentioning Dark Side, but you can enjoy Time or Money. Folks, you can do whatever you want, but I really
live
feel
your
like
life. We want you to be able to have freedom. That's part of what this country is about.
I mean, I don't know about that.
Within reason.
I fucking love freedom.
What do you think this song's about?
I think it's about a guy in a vehicle chasing someone down the road with your headlights. I don't know if you've seen the music video, but
No.
You've never seen the music video? No,
No,
I
I'm
wonder
really-
that fell so flat.
Oh, that was, you were being funny?
I was being a bit cheeky because when we were listening to Just, I said that the music video for Just is feels influenced, but very much like a weird short film. The music video for this is Tom York only. And it's a really, really beautifully shot video that is very Radiohead. I don't know. The song is a little bit...
So, the lyrics are so esoteric. I know the feeling it gives me. It sounds like somebody... It sounds like it's from the perspective of somebody who is... Again, it's paranoia. It sounds like somebody who's kind of watching society change around them in a way that's making them uncomfortable, and they're doubling down on maybe their bigotry or kind of like prejudice about young people or people doing something. It sounds like somebody who's like a part of an old system rejecting people who are doing something different. But that's just kind of the vibe I get from it. These lyrics are very, very specific. And so I feel like he is referencing things that he has a more clear idea in his head of. I mean, he talks in maths. He buzzes like a fridge. Her Hitler hairdo is making me feel ill. Very specific things to say, and I'm just curious what's behind them.
I think I've always thought of this song as like a mixed bag of that. Like, the literal interpretation I've got from it is like writing from the heart, like dealing with fame, the kind of concepts that are sort of present, mostly in this part. But I've given all I can, just kind of literal stuff. Like
I lost myself.
Yeah, so I think that could be part of it. I think everything you mentioned too is kind of how Tom York always writes songs, where it's like the moment you think you grasp it, it runs away from you because it's like Hitler hairdo. I don't really know. Is he talking about Bjork? I don't know.
Yeah, or is he literally... This is my favorite use of feedback in any song ever, on a tape echo, rolling tape echo.
What is this shite?
And then we get to the middle. Is that the head of EMI?
Yeah. You expect me to sell this to the radio people? Well, we're not radio music. We're Radiohead, aren't we?
Yeah. If the person talking in, I'll pause this. If the person speaking in Karma Police, if the narrator is Tom York, then these people he's talking about, it could be like feeling threatened by like this man. He talks in maths. He buzzes like a fridge. He's like a detuned radio. Like maybe that's like other musicians that he like doesn't understand what they're doing, or it doesn't resonate with him, and then this girl, her Hitler hairdo is making me feel ill, and we have crashed her party. Like maybe that's literally like a fan that's making him uncomfortable.
Well, yeah, and I think just like the title too is where I get like a literal interpretation. Like Karma Police is one of those things. It's like you hear it and you're like, how has nobody thought of those two words put together in like a sentence or title before? Because it's so genius. But I mean, yeah, I think you could interpret it both of those ways. This is what you get when you mess with us. Don't fuck with Radiohead, I think it's it's like the rap.
Radiohead ain't nothing to fuck with.
Yeah, it's like it's like their only diss track. I forget Tupac's song to Biggie. That's like he's insulting Lil' Kim and just saying "Don't fuck with me." This is their version of that.
Wait. It's ridiculous that we can't name that. Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
It's bugging me.
Oh, but I'm going through the verse in my mind, but the verse is like 500 stanzas long.
Hold on. Oh. Well, there's "Can't See Me."
Not "Can't See Me."
But that's like more of just a general.
It's first off, fuck your bitch.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Here, I'm just gonna look up "First Off, Fuck Your Bitch," and
he's referring to Lil' Kim.
Can't believe I can't hit him up. Gosh, it's ridiculous. We could not remember that.
Yeah,
I've seen Zach rap that song with like surprising accuracy before.
Hey man, I'm
censoring words that are not for him to say, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
So okay, I'm gonna just play in the background "Fit or Happier."
If it wasn't such a dumb thing to do, I would get a line of this tattooed on my like inner forearm. But it's just that I would want it for like a week.
So I'm gonna I think we should talk over this one, but we'll just turn it up for a sec.
careful to all animals. Never watching spiders. Don't upload.
This is so genius.
Yeah, so this is like the album interlude where it's a computerized voice, kind of, I think, talking about how they are keeping it together, how they have become fitter, happier, more productive, and then it kind of devolves into something that's very chilling and scary sounding.
It's like film score-esque.
Yes, and this is the other song that references pigs. So at the very end, the way it ends, the last lines are, still cries at a good film, still kisses with saliva, no longer empty and frantic, like a cat tied to a stick that's driven into frozen winter, calm, fitter, healthier, and more productive, a pig in a cage on antibiotics.
We were talking about like chicken or the egg kind of, is this album prophetic, or was it just sort of the album to do it the most well, talking about these sort of broader concepts? People have always been organized. People have always been rigorous about routines, but way now more so than ever, it's like drilled into children to prepare them for college, where they can be more stressed, to prepare them for the work life, to be overworked and more stressed. And I mean, that is definitely not something that happened only after 1997, but like, think about the way people organize their lives now. Like, I got to get on my Peloton bike where I have my iPad talking to me, cheering me on, and like, I'm guilty of this too. I think it's very, very, very brilliant. It reminds me of Hal from the aforementioned 2001. And the more I'm thinking about it, I think this album is sort of a brilliant achievement in the same way.
And it sounds to me like, I think that's a very astute interpretation of this song. Very slender retort, Zachary. I think also it sounds like they just probably did the thing, because the computers at the home computers at this time would have been like Windows 95 or
was there
like
Windows
those
98?
iMacs, right? With the color shelled. The color shell.
That was 2000 to 2002. Are we talking about the like fruity looking iMac?
Yeah. Because we had one of those at our house on Hillcrest. Those were mid and late 90s. And either way, the point I'm getting at is, do you remember at this time that you could do a word processing document and then have the computerized voice read it?
Yes.
And I'm pretty
what
sure
would we write?
and I just laugh when I think of it, because I just remember us writing like, fart, butthole. I pooped my pants.
It still happens when my wife calls me. It'll say, call from Kalani Glen.
Yeah.
My wife's name is Kailani Glenn. My cousin Jackie called me today and said, call from Jacques Day.
my friend Adrienne Lobel, her last name is spelled Lobel. And every time she calls, call from Adrienne Lob. And it just, I like that it sees the L on the end, and it's just like, I'm not even going to try to. But I think at that time when we were writing those things into Word documents and having the voice read it, we were probably too good of boys to even have it cussing. I think we literally were just writing stuff like poop and butthole and fart and stuff like that.
1998 is, I believe, the iMac you're talking about.
Well, it sounds like Radiohead got an early model.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Okay, so I want to talk about sequencing here a little bit.
Please.
So this album, on record, it is broken up into 4 sides. Being cheeky themselves, the sides are listed as Eeny, Meeny, Miny, and Mo.
Boys.
Now, this would not fit on one record. And an article I read about this album years ago in the aforementioned 33 and a Third, which was like a, like novella length essay on the album. Basically, the one thing I remember from it is it asserted that this album was an album perfectly sequenced to be a CD album as opposed to on vinyl, because even after CDs were popularized, bands were still sequencing things in terms of like vinyl sides. And
Right.
this a side on a record is, I think, 22 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And the longest you can put on one CD is, I believe, 77 minutes. And this album is 54 minutes. So it does flow together. I listened to it all the way through a few times this week. It really does flow together with no breaks, as if it is meant to be taken in one lump sum. However, I do think of that last song as the spiritual closer of side one.
Totally.
Because, you go from Karma Police to that, ends on a very weird, strange down note. And then what do we get into next? But in my opinion, the most rockin' song on the album, and a song I think you're going to have a lot to say about.
I just had one question, though,
Yes,
since
please.
we finished side A. You mentioned that 2 of your favorite songs on the album were singles. Have we heard both of them?
We have not, Zach.
The first being Karma Police, though,
Yes.
correct? Okay, all right. Just want to take inventory here.
And so then it starts, what I consider to be side 2, even though there is no side 2 to this album, with Electioneering. Ooh.
We're still here.
Now, listeners, do not adjust your podcast. I know you're hearing that. You're saying, I'm sorry. I thought this album was produced by Nigel Godrich, not Christopher Walken from the More Cowbell sketch. This is definitely the only Radiohead song with a cowbell, right? Mm-hmm. And I think very, very well used.
Yeah, it feels like Chad Smith almost guest spotted on this song or something.
This is a
Which is
driving
high praise.
ass song with 3 guitars in full force. This chorus. The riff changes here. So Zach, you seem to be kind of saying to me off mic, is this another word picture?
Yeah, this is
like
the second example.
the
of
riff
it.
is like doing what the words are saying. Talk about that.
So when he goes forward, so if you listen to just Johnny Greenwood's guitar track, during the I go forwards, he's going down the neck, and then when he says you go backwards, he's climbing up. So it's down the neck, meaning if you're right-handed, to your left.
A descending scale.
Thank you. And then when he says somewhere they will meet is where they perfectly meet the 2 guitars, which is it's so great because it could be accidental because
That feels too on the nose to be accidental, though. I think that's...
I love a Tom York scream. You barely ever get him, but there's...
Yeah, you know what? He's doing it on this album more than he does at any point before or after.
Yeah, and I have a pig orgasm every time he does. I love it so much. And also, too, with the word painting, the way if you listen to the vocal rising, and this is something they do a lot on this album, is it's almost like a vocal warm-up exercise. La 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 la. That's exactly what they're doing. Is they're rising and descending at the exact same time.
Is this song maybe Phil's best song on the album? Because right here, this
Phil crushes it.
Listen to this, listeners, right here. Oh.
I think this song is what going insane must feel like.
So this is one of the first ones they recorded. So still in like a kind of post-Benz rock mode. Even though this is... Are there horns here? Or is it just...
I don't think so.
I think it's just the harmonies are so good that it makes me feel like... Right here.
Oh, could be.
Or is it just guitar harmony and it's just such a rich amount of harmony. It sounds like orchestral.
The mix, like if you listen to the song in over-the-ear headphones, like it's such a raw mix. There's nothing like ingeniously, or whatever the word is. Like there's nothing innovative and new necessarily about having a second guitar blast in one side, but it makes it so distinct when Johnny Greenwood's guitar comes in. We talked about the word painting. That is my favorite song in the album.
I thought it might be.
There's two Radioheads, especially on this album, but there's two Radioheads overall. There's Rockin' Radiohead, and then there's slow, beautiful ambient Radiohead. This is like way too much of a, split up, but let's just put them in those two categories. I distinctively love Rocking Radiohead across all their albums the most, and it doesn't mean I don't love like the Pyramid songs or the Exit Musics or anything, but it's just I think it's just so much. There's so much going on in both, but I tend to prefer the Rockin' Radiohead.
Okay, and so you said that Paranoid Android is in your top 3. So does that mean that this is also in your top 3?
No, so Paranoid Android is such a unique like work of art, you know. Whereas that one is a little bit more straightforward, but I don't know actually, because I can't have my cake and eat it too. So I'll get back to you on that.
On this podcast, you can.
All right, cool.
I will allow you to both have your cake and eat that cake.
I mean, Electioneering is for
like
sure
a
my
cake-eating piggy.
top 10 Radiohead songs, but my top 3 is.
And so then we have it followed by a much more down note. We have Climbing Up the Walls, rather.
Mm-hmm. Another song where they intentionally recorded Tom York's vocals in a non, like, acoustically conducive room.
I think this is the most depressing song on the album.
Yeah, and I made an offhand comment on Electioneering that I think that song feels like what it. I mean, I'm not being trite here. I know mental health is a real thing, but literally in going crazy, whatever that must feel like. That's kind of how I think of Electioneering. And
I guess Tom wrote this song based on experiences he had as an orderly in a mental health facility.
Whoa! I was not aware of that.
I read that today on Wikipedia.
Love that Wikipedia.
And it also Climbing Up the Walls. That's definitely like
I picture like padded walls maybe or something.
Yeah, and also I think just a way of describing your own internal anxiety and depression. But this song is, I guess I'll just say I don't think there's a bad song on this album. There's not a song I would leave off this album. This one might not be my favorite on the album. I think it's a great song. The string section arranged by Johnny Greenwood here is insane. And there's a point coming up where after really, really holding this kind of note for a long time, it gets into a very dirty rock sound that is awesome. What do you think about this song?
This is my favorite slow song on the album, if you could call it that. The build that's coming up, and then the solo, semi-solo he's playing. All my favorite parts are coming up. So
I think Colin's playing the synth bass on this one too.
I love that it's not a digitized drum track. I'm not saying I mind that at all. Hold your horses, folks.
Okay, computer.
Right? I love what he's doing with his voice. This song feels pretty 90s, but like in the best way.
I get that. Yeah, the distortion on the
like
vocals.
Deftones like listen to this and are like, let's make every song like this.
Yeah, or I would say maybe the slow, like the non-rock songs of the Smashing Pumpkins.
Totally. Which they did come before Radiohead. Smashing Pumpkins are a band, I think, that this podcast is going to immediately shift to exclusively. So I hope you're ready.
No, but only Billy Corgan's new music.
Okay, this is my
we don't
part.
talk about their shitty early albums.
No.
And yeah, on this song, on the live footage of them playing it, Johnny Greenwood's playing the synth and Colin's playing the synth bass. And here we go to this.
It's like 28 Days Later score or something.
So like hits really hard
I love it. And
when it
and
opens up there.
it really feels like something that like Danny Boyle would use when things are kind of going haywire. There's another director who uses would just remove the vocal track and put in something like this.
Yeah, it sounds like kind of like the third act of
He
28
just screamed,
Days
ladies and
Later.
gentlemen. Yeah. Yeah, when he's kind of realizing the city is falling apart and shit. I mean, it I wish I could think of a better, more eloquent way to say it, but those two songs really, really work for feeling like you're losing it.
You know what I just remembered? One time I was at a party drunk and somebody had their phone playing music, and I was trying to find something and I accidentally put on this song and people were so pissed.
Jesus, party really died.
Yeah, it was it came on and
Oh
I
my
heard,
God, yeah.
a chorus of people go what the fuck?
Right. We're not on our fourth day of a meth bender yet, Walker.
Yeah, no shit. Now here we have a song that's probably familiar to casual fans. This was a single, and this is one of my favorite Radiohead songs. This is No Surprises. Beautiful song, more happy sounding sad music. This is also utilizes kind of Tom I almost called him Tom Cruise. This utilizes,
they're friends.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. This is Tom York doing what I like the best lyrically, where he takes kind of snippets of very ordinary life and ordinary kind of boring exchanges and imbue them with a great deal of melancholy.
And the infinite sadness. So on that album, no, I'm sorry. We're leaving off the good Smashing Pumpkins albums.
Yeah, we only talk about Zwan.
So I have a cross compare. I think the song reminds me of All I Need a bit with the
Sure. That's the glockenspiel. Zach was doing a glockenspiel motion.
I've just been pretending to know what the glockenspiel is this whole episode.
It's a mallet instrument, right?
Yeah.
And
I say like I know. I mean, it looks like a child xylophone, or is it a xylophone?
yeah, I wonder what exactly differentiates a glockenspiel from a xylophone.
They both sound like German words.
They do. Let's look at a glockenspiel here. Well, it looks like it's a bells percussion instrument. What's the difference between it? It's a type of metallophone, similar to the vibraphone, played with mallets. But what's the difference between this and a xylophone? Maybe just the octaves that you're playing in?
Yeah. I think a xylophone, because it's typically built for children to just kind of play around on, I think maybe it's like a harmonica and then it's mono.
Xylophones are wood.
Oh, okay.
And this is metal.
That makes sense.
All right, we got to the bottom of it. We got through it. I don't even know what to say about this song. I think it's one of their most beautiful and sad songs. And I absolutely love it. I think it's a perfect song.
What I love about it is it's so Radiohead that this riff sounds like... I like this change right here.
Yeah. Like a modulation, kind of.
So what's interesting about this riff is it sounds like, I could play that and it's pretty, and you can play it, folks. Anyone can play guitar. But there is there's a little chromaticism in it, which is just delicious.
Where's that? What's that mean?
Chromaticism is where you play you know how when you do a whole step in between your 1 and 2 on a scale,
Okay.
you don't go 1, 2, 3 on your frets.
Sure.
So chromaticism is where you just hit successive notes with no step in between them. So it's very common in blues, and you have to really listen for it, but it's just a nice touch. They can't do anything normal is kind of what I would say.
Sure.
Because they're special.
They are special, and they know it.
I believe capoed at the 7th fret
Ooh,
on an electric guitar, if I'm
love
not
a high
mistaken.
capo. Love a high capo until kind of all these
People who don't play with picks are using it.
Yeah, well, I don't play with the
You
pick.
can, it's different when.
But kind of all these hey there Delilah type of fuckers
Right,
have
yeah.
made it instead of
learn to do a
bothering
bar
write
chord.
good song.
Yeah.
Yeah, just capo on the 50th fret. What do we get here? So here we're almost to the end of the album, folks. This is Lucky. This is the first song they recorded with Nigel.
Do you know what's making this noise here in the background?
Please tell me.
The nut, the top of the guitar neck, and in between where there's that last little bit of taut string.
Yeah.
You just strum. That's what.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Yes, that sounds like it's got the handsome man written
he can
all
do
over
it. Yeah. They're like, we've got a job for you on this one.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Put that shaker down, mate. You don't have to pick up that to be a part of this song.
And this is Tom
And then
York
he was like, I
exclusively.
was wondering if I could play a little solo. Just stick to the strings up there, mate. You're good at that bit. This is the song we mentioned. We didn't say, but this song to me is very, very Dark Side of the Moon.
Big time. Oh, yeah.
This is like about as classic rock as Radiohead has ever sounded, I think, before or since. I mean, also, do they have some like, those backing vocals remind me of like the black female backing vocals on Dark Side of the Moon, but I'm guessing it's just the boys doing it? Or do they
I think it's a keyboard again, or like a synth that's synthesizing. Just leaning.
Okay, because it sounds kind of like a black choir, but it's subtly. But I really like it.
Everyone you meet.
Oh,
I always love that part in Dark Side.
I guess I'm pretty damn lucky if I've ever been lucky. They should have done that.
I mean, I do love.
Me and Zach are really improved. This is a good song. I think we just made it a great song.
It's just so much better than, dare I say, anything on the Bends, but barely.
Sure, but like more at home with the Bends than the rest of the album.
I feel like this is like a song that they were like, let's get Radiohead to write a song for Batman Forever, and they're like, no, this won't work. But
It's really like it's a really like classic rock sounding kind of mode for them, but it's so gorgeous. And I gotta say, this is a song that as a younger man didn't super register with me, that now is a highlight of this album.
It's so funny because this one was so inviting to me because it was air quotes around the word normal, but
That's such David Gilmour shit.
oh, big time. I could just, yeah. Well, he guest stars on this song actually. David Gilmour, guitarist of U2, definitely my top 5. U2.
Of
Pink
U2.
Floyd. I got U2 on the brain.
You misspoke.
Oh man, I'm embarrassed. I'm a shade of magenta right now, folks. In classic Radiohead fashion, though, so the chord progression in the verse is E minor, A minor, G, B minor. But in the chorus, we go E minor to A major.
Okay.
Which, for you chord people out there, that's
for our chord heads.
our chord heads. No, it's a really awesome melody trick.
Well, that must also be why it sounds so Pink Floyd, because Breathe and the last section of Time is just E minor, A major,
Yeah.
strummed back and forth forever. Okay, come on, though. What are you talking about, right?
Give me those
here?
bends.
This is a very traditional guitar solo from
Right.
Johnny Greenwood.
Poor Ed, he's still just hitting those strings. They could have looped it.
God, they're all laughing at him, aren't they?
Yeah, it's like when you give like a 12-year-old a job to do at a real job, and they're like taking it really seriously, but it's just like an assembly line task, and you're like, oh, okay, good job,
They probably like make him carry in their amps and stuff.
Oh, is he so tall?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, just my back. Maybe, Ed, you're so strong. You're such a big bloke, aren't you, mate?
He's like Lenny from A Bison Man. Turn around now, Ed.
Yeah, he accidentally killed a groupie, and so they have to put him down to protect him. And here we have the closer.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Greenwood entirely composed this song.
Okay.
And I believe... I'm not going to give false facts here. I'm not sure if that includes the lyrics. I'm 50-50 if it does.
Well,
but-
they're all their songs are credited to all 5 members. So that's one thing that's cool about Radiohead is like, I like that
That's kind of
Tom York isn't seemingly collecting additional publishing royalties that the rest of them aren't, because a lot of bands that causes a lot of problems down the road. There's a lot of different accounts of who wrote what, and I think that when you just give songwriting credit to the whole band, it's an unselfish move that probably is another reason Radiohead have like remained so harmonious with each other.
So it is really just like a royalties thing then.
That's
No,
my
I mean, I'm not
understanding
saying
of
that
it. Yeah,
that's
it's
their
a-
motive, but I didn't realize that it was that.
I think that it has a lot to do with how royalties are paid out is who gets the publishing rights.
And that's depressing too, because I Want You, She's So Heavy is clearly a McCartney song.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and Octopus's Garden.
It's got Paul honestly written all over it, but yeah.
So these last two songs, I think are like a little bit of a departure from the rest of the album. I would still say perfectly sequenced, but a little more pretty and a little more of that, again, sorry, beating it into the ground, but a little more of that Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, soulful.
Yeah, I think this is like the us and them of it.
Yeah.
Which I kind of hate when people like find similarities with something and then they go, well, this is this and that is that. But I think that as we listen to it more and I've been thinking about it, gosh, they're just, it feels like it's paying homage without even necessarily knowing it. Pink Floyd are not listed as one of Radiohead's primary influences, but I think it's undeniable. And that's okay because Pink Floyd are amazing. But I think Radiohead occupy this weird spot between the Beatles and Pink Floyd at times, not like exclusively.
I think Radiohead, like they managed to exceed, or they managed to like embody kind of the high-minded ambition of Pink Floyd while stopping short of kind of the pretension that I think Pink Floyd slips into sometimes. Because I love Golden Era Pink Floyd, but it's like making a album that is a musical version of Animal Farm is like a little bit like, okay, like I love that album, but I'm also just like, to me, it's kind of like a dumb, smart guy move.
I get that. I think that one is a little bit like that and The Wall are both
The Wall has cringy moments for me, too.
a little bit. Yeah, no, for sure. I think those are the ones where Roger Waters is definitely telling you what's on his mind.
Yeah.
And in Animals, it's a little harder too because he's telling you what was on George Orwell's mind, but he is doing a retelling of it that I think is, like, we've talked about Roger Waters, but he is an incredible writer.
Yeah.
And I think that really comes through on Animals, even though its foundation is a little shaky and pirated. Pigs, as we've been talking about, is one of my Pigs and Dogs are two of my favorite just songs lyrically ever.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm getting some Gilmore flavors here too.
Yeah, so these last two songs, like I say, they're really like more like soulful kind of 70s rock and roll than the rest of the album is. And I think it's really well earned because they make you sit through some really challenging stuff to get to this point where you do get to hear some nice, somewhat bluesy guitar solos and really pretty vocals from Tom York. I really like that these are both at the end of the album, and it's a really nice note to end what has been, I think, like, I think going through this album, you said it about electioneering. I do think this whole album kind of feels like going nuts a little bit.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like that's the beautiful thing about not just Radiohead, but music in general, and great movie, anything, great works of art. If they're truly great, not by public definition, but by your own, I think one of the things that defines that is being able to pull new things out of it, whether it's a feeling, a message from the author, whatever. And I'm sure that's always been there, like the feeling of going a little bit nuts. But I mean, it's definitely more distinct this go around. And just like that, like you expect it to end with like a big crash bang, but nope, they're so restrained.
That's Okay Computer. And this has absolutely held up as it at times it has been my favorite Radiohead album, and it still can occupy that spot from time to time. What is mind-blowing to me is that they will manage to even transcend this work depending on who you ask, in terms of reinvention. And, you know, some would say in terms of like an artistic statement. But to me, this album has aged absolutely beautifully. It's such an interesting like letter to the time it was written in, while not being dated, not being married to like specific references of the time, but it really does invoke a feeling that's both timeless and also just very like rooted to the conditions that it came about in. I fucking love this record, and I'm so happy that we got to like just dive into it to this extent. What are your kind of closing thoughts on it?
I mean, I think you nailed it right there. Don't have too much to add in terms of like its cultural impact. I want to ride my wave of good comparison to 2001. I was thinking about the cover of this album, which is really hard to describe. If you look really closely at it, it looks like a freeway, like interstates converging and with an overpass. And then there is a lost child sign that you might see on like a New York subway or London subway. And then there's just like it almost looks like, I don't know, maybe Japanese artwork with the plane and the two people pushing one another, or maybe something you'd see in a plane.
There's
a
lot of like scattered, like kind of like warnings and rules.
Yeah. And just as like
this collage mixed with people doing it mixed with like images that convey greeting and pleasantries,
right,
trying to be human in this like chaotic, crazy world, maybe.
Yeah, and like that's a very abstract interpretation that I agree with, but that's sort of the album for you. Like the carpets match the drapes, as they say. Or we were talking about word painting. That's about album artwork. That phrase, right?
Absolutely. About this album.
Exactly.
It wasn't an expression until OK Computer's album artwork matched the drapes of the album so perfectly.
But starting with this album, like you could say, the Bends. Okay, a little abstract, silicone toy, but it's a person or an image of a person. Pablo Honey. Okay, it's a baby and a flower, but there's no big like, what does it mean in it? It just looks like somebody cut two things out of a magazine and put them on top of each other with Pablo Honey. And the Bends is cool, but OK Computer, to even describe the cover is like difficult to do. Like it's just a washed out image that almost looks like somebody scribbled with a white gel pen. And I think that's really bold and like brave to do that. And it totally matches the ambiguous tension that is like throughout the entire album. I don't know. It might be a stretch, but it's really cool.
No, I think it's all really cohesive. They knew what the fuck they were doing, and they took their time. And you know, it's put together by Tom and artist Stanley Donwood, who collaborates with them on every
Genius.
album.
Love that guy.
And Zach, can you give the listeners a little hint of kind of what's to come in the next episode for us? Just
Yeah.
I know you're a big fan of wetting your beak, but can you wet the listeners' beak? I guess listeners don't know that that's a quote from Godfather 2 that we throw at each other a lot.
Yeah.
Zach's always asking me what my takes on these albums are before we sit down to record, and I say, you cannot wet your beak.
So you would be De Niro, and I would be Finucci wanting to wet my beak in this scenario.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And
I've always
I'm
felt
De
like a
Niro,
Finucci.
I will murder you.
What if this podcast ends with Johnny? No, I guess it'd be Colin killing Johnny, the older brother.
Yeah.
So they mirror what we do. There's a podcast out there.
Yeah, and then Radiohead is not just the best experimental rock and roll band, but the best black metal band of all time.
So what is to come? So there is a documentary called "Meeting People Is Easy," from 1997, so the year of OK Computer, but it is specifically focusing on their appearance on Letterman, their show at Madison Square Garden, Jules Holland, what have you. And it's not just showing those performances, it's showing them in the green room before. And really, I don't know how consciously it's trying to do this. It's showing an exhaustion with fame. So that is what it focuses on, and it tells a lot about what they were writing. But it really ties in nicely to the album after this.
Yes, and Radiohead.
We're not only going to be talking about that, but that's where a lot of our material comes from.
Setting the table very nicely, because Radiohead is at this point in their career about to take their heretofore longest break between albums before we get to their next one, and so we're going to slow it down with the podcast too. Before Radiohead once again completely reinvents their sound with the next album they have, we're going to talk about what went into that. And also we hit well over 2 hours talking about this album, so we'll probably talk about some of the B-sides, songs they recorded during these sessions that were not included on OK Computer. So if you have been listening to this podcast and you're just like, surely these boys have said everything that there is to say about Radiohead, listener, you're out of your fucking mind if you think that.
Right. Because the B-sides on any Radiohead album are very good.
Yes. And even if they aren't, then, that's fun to discuss too. But in this case, they are. So we have plenty more to discuss, and we're going to talk about more of this point in their career before we get to Kid A. Zach, you have anything else you want to say to the lovely Gucci little piggies out there?
Listen to this album, not with our voices talking over it, but just give it a listen.
Yeah, I hope this was I hope that nobody listened to this album for the first time via this podcast and that is like, I think I got it.
Yeah.
This is how the album was. This is how Radiohead truly meant this album to be consumed, is two jackasses talking about Batman over it.
We've reached our conclusion. I don't want to pull a Apocalypse Now extended cut when we've reached our natural conclusion, but I do want to say, if you are someone that plays guitar, piano, drums, whatever, learn
Glockenspiel.
What's that?
Glockenspiel.
Glockenspiel. Learn specifically guitar, because that's what I play. Learn some of the songs off of it. They really started playing with some really fantastically different alternate tunings. We'll get into that on the B-sides, but Airbag has that. Anyways, so I would say that's a really great way to kind of approach the music and dive into it.
What tuning is Airbag in?
EADGAE, and that's important because when you get you get a resonance that is not typically found there. Anyway, so I would say my advice is to learn some of these songs. It's a really fun adventure.
Down tuning the B string and nothing else. I tell you, these limeys are crazy.
Yeah. But no, I love doing this episode with you. I love this album. I
love you.
I don't know I love you too, man. What is your low light? And then we can go.
I love everything from this album. I don't know if I'll be able to find lowlights on the next few records. I guess if I
feel like climbing on the walls, up the walls you weren't super hot.
I mean, I love it though, is the thing. I guess if I had to skip a song, maybe it would be that, but I don't want to skip it.
I specifically don't like The Tourist. That's my low light. That's
Really?
a song that and I mean, when I say don't like, I'm talking in the context of OK Computer, which is, I think it is a great album, cut start to finish. I would trade it out for some of the B-sides, and I think any song with the word "the" in it, I'm already skeptical.
Are you being serious?
Yeah. Not always. Not like, oh, that's dumb, but The Tourist feels like a song Bono would write. And yeah, so that's my low light.
I think maybe if I love Climbing Up the Walls and I love The Tourist. On an album packed with nothing but songs I love, I maybe would be more okay with it ending on Lucky before The Tourist than I would with removing Climbing Up the Walls, because Climbing Up the Walls takes it to kind of its darkest place, and I think that's important for kind of it to lift you back up into something a little more rock and roll with Lucky. Something a little prettier with no surprises, and then a little more soulful and rock and roll with Lucky. So I guess I might agree with you. I guess that would be my low light too, but I got to tell you, I'm very reluctant and uncomfortable describing anything on this album as a low light.
Agreed. Thank you, gods of rock and roll and alternative music, for this glorious gift.
Yes, and
well received.
Thank you, Radiohead.
Thank you, Radiohead.
Let's say their names. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Colin. We love you, and we love you, listeners, and we will see you next time on Idiot Talk. I am Walker Glenn.
And I am Zach Glenn.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Idiot Talk is a Glenn Brothers production. Get in touch with us at idiotalk.podcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at idiotalk.podcast. And thanks for listening to